Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about U-turns, step-by-step procedures to execute a U-turn for the purposes of passing a road test. Stick around. We'll be right back with that information. Hi there, Smart Drivers. Welcome back. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about how to execute a U-turn, step-by-step procedures to pass a road test. Now, just before we get started here, if you're new to Smart Drive Test helps new drivers get a license regardless of class, veteran drivers to remain crash-free, and CDL drivers to start a career as a truck or bus driver. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. As well, hit that bell. That way you'll get instant notification when I get the videos up for you. Now, U-turns, and the reason that I probably haven't done this video yet, although I've had requests from other smart drivers, and the latest request was from Francesca, and they wanted me to do this, and the reason I haven't done this is because U-turns are not part of the driving culture in many places. Here in Canada, British Columbia specifically, Australia was not part of the driving culture in Australia. However, there are places in the world where they do these, and the southwest of the United States and Arizona was one of the places that I remember a lot of U-turns being done. So we're going to go over that today, and you will have to do this. There are places on road tests that you'll have to do this, usually at cul-de-sacs and whatnot. Now, I just want to go over the driving manual here in British Columbia, Learn to Drive Smart, and there are several places that you cannot do U-turns when you're driving. First one is anytime it interferes with traffic, and that's basically the catch-all where they get you. If you get into a crash, the police can use that you were interfering with other traffic and charge you with negligence in executing a U-turn when you shouldn't have been executing a U-turn. So no, that's the catch-all. Anytime that it interferes with traffic. As well, you cannot execute a U-turn on a curve, on the crest of a hill where you cannot be seen for 150 meters or 500 feet. You cannot execute one at traffic lights. You cannot execute one in a business district except at intersections where they're not controlled by traffic lights. Anytime that signs prohibit you making a U-turn, and finally, anytime that municipal bylaws prohibit you from doing a U-turn. So there's 7 legal requirements that have to be met in order for you to be able to do a U-turn here in British Columbia. And that very much underscores what I used to teach in my legal history courses, that the laws reflect the values of society, and the driving society here in British Columbia does not do U-turns, and it's a highly risky maneuver. Thus all of the regulations and bylaws that are in place to prevent you from doing a U-turn. So I'm going to show you where to do them. I'm going to show you how to do them safely and do them for the purposes of a road test and out on a road, a 2-lane road, and those sorts of things, to give you some idea of the inherent risks in doing a U-turn. Now, if you can go around the block, I do recommend that you going around the block rather than doing a U-turn, because think about it, maybe 2 or 3 minutes of just going around the block is going to potentially save you being involved in a crash and executing a high-speed maneuver. So what we're going to do here, we're going to hook up the cameras, go for a drive, and show you how to execute a U-turn for the purpose of passing a road test, where you might have to do this on a cul-de-sac. I know that they do that here in British Columbia and other places where you might have to do a U-turn. Oftentimes, if they make you do a U-turn on a road test, it's going to be in a quiet residential area, so just know that. So let's hook up the cameras, go for a drive. And on a road test, for the purposes of a road test, they're going to get you at a dead-end street where there's a cul-de-sac. That's almost a given on a road test. They're going to make you do a U-turn at the end of a street such as this one here, where you're going to do a U-turn. And again, go slowly, check the traffic behind you, make sure there isn't any traffic coming. Okay, signal to the left, and of course you want to go nice and slow here because there's lots of ice here and it's going to be bumpy, and the slower you go, the sharper the vehicle turns, so you're going to be able to get around here. And you can see that it is very bumpy, that we're bumping around here, and we cancel our signal, bring the steering wheel back to straight, and it's that easy to do a U-turn in a cul-de-sac where there may or may not be able to get you to do a U-turn for the purposes of your road test. Now, in some of these communities, like here in Vernon and other places, they're going to have cul-de-sacs, and they're going to make you do a U-turn at a cul-de-sac. And we're going to come up here and we're going to do a U-turn at the intersection here. And we're slowing down, we're checking the traffic behind us, making sure there isn't anybody coming. We're signaling We're going to signal to the right, checking the cross traffic. There isn't any cross traffic. As we move into the intersection, signal to the left. Again, 360-degree scan, going slowly around, cross traffic, scanning, and we simply straighten out and we proceed. So that's at an intersection and a cul-de-sac. That's how you do a U-turn at those two places. We're going to go and find couple more places here for you to do a U-turn. We're going to get into a little bit more traffic here and do a U-turn for you and show you how to do that. However, you can't do it at an intersection with traffic lights. As I said in the introduction, there are some places in the world that you can do that, but here in British Columbia you can't. Stopping before the sidewalk and checking traffic. We're in an alley and the speed limit is 10 miles per hour, 20 kilometers an hour in an alley. So just know that for the purposes of your road test. So we're going to do a U-turn here. You can see there's a vehicle coming, and again we want to move out to the right to try and maximize our space in the intersection. And we pull through, as you can see here, checking the cross traffic. And there's a vehicle coming, and I'm checking, lots of scanning, put on our right signal, and we stop here at the intersection before the crosswalk to make sure there isn't other traffic. And that's how you do it at a T intersection. But you've got to maximize the space so you can get the vehicle around if there isn't going to be enough space to do a U-turn for the purposes of getting around there. Now, on a road test on that intersection, there is no way that they're going to make you do a a U-turn. It just wouldn't happen on a road test because there's just too much traffic going on, and they're emphasizing safety, and that is deemed a less safe maneuver. It's not that it's unsafe, it's just less safe than what most driving examiners are prepared to incur with a new driver. So that's how you do a U-turn there. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this on a multi-lane road right here. You can see that I'm on multi-lane, and you need at least 3 lanes of traffic. Okay, and I'm moving over. Now, ideally, when you're doing it here, you want to do it in front of a laneway like that, because you can use that laneway as space here to do your U-turn. And we got to, obviously I missed the light, and I've got to wait for the oncoming traffic to clear before I can do it. Now you got to be careful as well with the cars coming out of the parking lot and whatnot. And you check the traffic behind you. I'm okay because I'm on a multi-lane. So another vehicle coming, and of course, nice and slow here, and we proceed. And that's how you do it on a multi-lane. And you're going to need at least 3 lanes of traffic to do it on multi-lane, and to do it expediently so that you don't get caught out with the traffic coming the other way. Now on this roadway here, I'm waiting for the straight place because we're not supposed to do it on a curb. There's a bicycle lane here. I'm going to pull over on the bicycle lane. Okay, and I'm going to pull over, and I've got my signal on, mirror signal, shoulder check. I'm going to put my left signal on, make sure there's no traffic coming behind me, shoulder check, there's no traffic coming, and expediently do your U-turn. You can see here, even though I'm up into the snow here, I'm off the curb. There wasn't quite enough room there to do a U-turn. But we kind of took a little bit, and that's the thing is that sometimes there just isn't going to be enough room for you to get around on a U-turn, and it's going to be better for you to do a K-turn, a 3-point turn, or a Y-turn as it's sometimes called. But most of the time you're not going to do it there on the highway like that. What you're going to do is do it in an intersection like this. That's going to be much more expedient, and you're going to have the room that you can get around and figure that out. And of course, the bigger the vehicle you have, the more space it's going to take. I have a small mid-size SUV, so there's lots of room. It has a very sharp turning radius, so it makes it easier for me to do that on that highway there. And of course, I needed just like another 12 inches, another 20 centimeters to get around there. I kind of pushed it up into the snow there a little bit to get around and do the U-turn. So those are different scenarios for you to execute U-turns. We got one more U-turn here for you. We're going to do it here. Shoulder checking, turning. And again, we're checking the traffic behind us. We have a dead-end street here. And again, nice and slow, checking the traffic behind us. Down into a slow gear. This is going to be really tight. We stay right over to the right side as much as possible, nice and slow. And the slower you go, the sharper it turns. I don't even have my feet on the pedals right now. I'm going really slow because the vehicle turns sharper the slower you go. So you can see I'm up into the snow there and whatnot. Quick review of U-turns. U-turns are not part of the driving culture here in British Columbia, but they are elsewhere. Thus the request from Francesca to do a video on U-turns. And the reasons that they're not part of the driving culture here is because there are a lot of regulations that prohibit U-turns here in British Columbia. And those prohibitions are: you can't do a U-turn at traffic lights, you can't do a U-turn on a curve, on a crest of a hill where you're not be able to be seen for 150 meters or 500 feet, in business districts, except at intersections where there aren't traffic lights, where signs prohibit U-turns, and then when municipal law as well prohibits U-turns. So there's a lot of regulations that prohibit U-turns, and thus they are not part of the driving culture here in British Columbia. However, on a road test, you will be requested to do one at a cul-de-sac. So know how to do that and practice that for those of you who are in places where they have cul-de-sacs, that they will get you to do a U-turn there if you end up in that residential area. As well, I showed you how to do one at a T intersection and at intersections, and lots of observation, shoulder checks, and 360-degree scans to make sure that oncoming traffic is not present. Otherwise, hopefully they're going to stop, or you risk being involved in a crash. Multi-lane busy highways, make sure you have at least 3 lanes of traffic, because you need 2 lanes to get the vehicle around, and the bigger that vehicle and the less turning radius it has, you're going to need even more space, as you saw there on the roadway where it kind of pushed up into the snowbank just a little bit. Yes, sometimes you may misjudge it, and if you misjudge it, then it's going to turn into a 3-point turn. But again, lots of observation and making sure that other vehicles are not present. And on the T intersection where you saw me do the U-turn, I actually stopped at the traffic light and waited for the oncoming traffic to clear, and then I proceeded. Question for my smart drivers: are U-turns part of your driving culture? Leave a comment down in the comment section there. All of that helps out the new drivers and the veteran drivers who are working to be crash free. If you like what you see here, share, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section. As well, hit that thumbs up button. Head over to the Smart Drive Test website. Pass your road test first time. It's a course for new drivers that will help them to pass both the theory and the practical part of your license test. It's guaranteed 60 days you complete the course. If you don't pass first time, I'll give you your money back, because you don't want to fail a road test. There's nothing worse than failing a road test, especially when you got to go to school the next day and tell your friends you weren't successful on your road test. So head over there, sign up for that course. It'll give you all of the pertinent information and the tips and tricks to make sure that you pass your road test first time. I'm Rick with Smart Drive Test. Thanks very much for watching. Good luck on your road test. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now.